so we don't need to really talk about it, but does anybody have any questions about that? You're good? Okay, great, nice work. So, and now let's move on to number 2, okay? And again, you had lots of right answers for number 2, but I want to make sure that we spend a little bit of class time on that one so we make sure you have enough detail and enough information about the answer to number 2. So who would like to read number 2? Brandon?
What did the professor decide to study?
Yeah, nice, good. Now the first thing I want to do is ask, where can we find the answer to this question? And then remember, everybody, here's our language for talking about a reading, so make sure you include that in your answer.
It's in paragraph 2, lines 15 and 16.
Okay, everybody there? Everyone see that? Carrie, you got it? Okay, go ahead. What does it say there? Well, that's where we'll find the answer to this question. What did the professor decide to study?
The students' behavior.
Mm-hmm.
The Brazilian students' behavior.
Okay. Well, you're right. It's exactly what it says on those lines. But, you know, I want to just do a little more work with that. And Diana and Kara, when I was walking around, I listened in on your group work, and I heard you talking about the study with a little more detail. Can you add some details to Mary Lou's answer?
Do you mean about lateness? About American and Brazilian students being late?
Yeah, that's what I heard you talk about. That's good. Kara, you want to?
It says on line 1 of paragraph 3, the professor talked to American and Brazilian students about lateness, in informal and formal.
That's great, nice job. Yeah, he talked to Brazilian students and American students because he wanted to compare their ideas. Okay? So now I have a challenge for you. Okay? You guys just answered all these great words showing me you understood the idea, but I want you to try to use these words now in a full sentence. So you said compare, right? You said American, Brazilian, and lateness. Okay, so we have these 4 ideas. And here's the challenge. The question again was, what did the professor decide to study? Who wants to answer using these 4 ideas? Fumi?
The professor wanted to compare Brazilian and Americans' idea about being late.
What do you think? Pretty nice? Perfect. Excellent sentence. That was great. And that's the answer to the question. That's our idea. So now that answer tells us what the study was based on and what the article was about. Okay? So let's go in and look a little further at the comparison. So that means let's start talking about question number 3. Fumi, could you read question number 3?
What did the Brazilian student think about people who are late?
Okay, great. Nice and loud. Let's start where we always do, which is where can we find the answer to that question? And don't forget this language. But here's let me give you a key word in that question. Think. Okay. What did the Brazilian students think about people who are late? Fumi?
I think the answer is in paragraph 3, where it says, in 24, Brazilian students felt the friend was late after 33 minutes.
Okay, I see. You know what, will you say that one more time so everybody can understand? And everybody, give Fumi your attention. Really listen to this idea.
Brazilian students felt the friend was late after 33 minutes.
You know what, I want want to look at one word that you said, and that's this word felt. Okay, let's look at the word felt. You're right. Let me see if I understand what you're saying. Brazilian students felt is also can be the same as Brazilian students think. Right? Is that what you're thinking? But the sentence you just answered, when you said the Brazilian students were late after 33 minutes, that's answering the question, how much time had to pass before they were late? Right? So your answer really wasn't an opinion. Okay? The question I'm asking is about their opinion, everybody. What was their opinion about the students who were late after 33 minutes? And I'm wondering, right? So felt can mean opinion, but we're talking about think, in this case, it means opinion. Where does he talk about that? Kathy, I hear you making noises over
Yeah,
there.
I thought paragraph 4, line 35.
Okay, that's on the back side, everybody?
Yeah, because it says students believe that a person who arrives late is probably more successful.
Okay, so you're on the right track. That's great. Can you, well, actually, who can add, so you see what Kathy saw? Did you see the word believe, Kathy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so believe, that's an opinion word. What did they believe? That's where they talk about their opinion. Kara, do you want to add a little to that?
In Brazil, they think late is normal. If a person is important, high status person.
Okay, so that's a little more detailed. Nice work. So everybody got that? Go look at your answers now in your workbook, okay, in your reader. Because your answer should have those ideas that Kathy and Kara just talked about. Has a something about it's okay for Brazilians to be late. Everybody has something like that? Doesn't have to be those exact words, but that idea. And it has to have something about when you're late in Brazil, people think you are important. You have high status. Okay, so change it if it's not there, or add a little bit. All right? You guys, great work. Let's move on now. We've got to move through this, and we're going to go now to the final question. Okay? Kara, will you please read number 4?
What did the professor learn after doing the study?
Oh my God, I love how loud that was. Everybody hear that? You guys have got it now. Okay. And you know what? I put a starter for this question up here. Can you look at that without hurting your necks too much? Question number 4. When you answer, will you start with this? The professor learned that. Let's repeat for a minute.
The professor learned that.
Blah, 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 blah. Okay? Blah. Not blah. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. So what did he learn? What did the professor learn? Kara, start us off.
The professor learned that Brazilian students were late but not showed disrespectful to him.
Professor learned 33 minutes. Late is normal in Brazil.
Dion.
Professor learned that classes no end on time and late in Brazil.
The professor learned that students are appropriate for Brazil.
Oh, you guys, okay. I think I see a theme. I think you guys understand a lot of great details about Brazilian students. Is that true? That was interesting, new information. And those, you're totally right, that is what he learned. But remember, and let me refocus, let me get you to think about something new. He actually studied Brazilian students and American students. So, okay, Brazilian and American. So let's go back to the question. Here's the question. What did he learn after his study? Meaning, not the details so much. It's a big idea question. What's the big idea that he learned about being on time in 2 cultures? That's the question. Okay? Who wants to answer that one? Yeah.
Different cultures have different ideas.
We're closer. That's good. That's interesting. But you know what? Did that again, Kat. Everybody listen carefully.
Different cultures have different ideas.
Did she talk about Brazil? Did she talk about America? Oh, she changed it to different cultures. So, and you're totally right, that's part of what he learned. Now we want to add to that. Who can say more about what he learned? Karen.
Different cultures have different ideas about being on time.
I love it. What do you guys think? That's the answer to the question. Not too specific, not so general, but you got it just right. Your answer, now go back again, look in your readers and make sure you have this idea. And I think you need to make some changes based on what I saw when I went around in groups. Okay? All right, and then when you're done, we'll talk about main idea. You want to have a cigarette first, Boomy? Okay. All right, really, just take a minute and finish that, and then we'll take a break. You don't smoke, sorry.
You're not for another one? Yeah. Well, it's grand. Okay, everybody, let's come back and let's start talking about these, okay? Yeah, that was good. All right, let me just check in with you. We know that we have 10 sentences, right? Just checking. And we know that each sentence had only one error. I'm going to do something different now. I know you looked at each sentence, but I'm going to do something different. The first thing I want to do is ask you to look at all the sentences and decide which sentences have an error with the form of the verb. Remember form? We talked about that yesterday. So that means which sentences have an error with the, it means the form of the verb is wrong. They made the verb wrong. So the verb tense is okay. The problem is with the form. We talked about this yesterday, and let me just tell you. One of the sentences that has a problem with the verb form is number 1. So let's take a look at number 1. Diana, could you read number 1 for us? Super loud.
The weather is getting hotter these days, so more and more students arrive late to class.
Okay, that's great. So, Kay, you put this one on the board. Could you tell us where the form error is in number 1? And make sure that Fumi can hear you. Okay, nice and loud.
I think our arrive is wrong. We should say are arriving.
Okay, so Mary Lou, did you change it the same way?
Yeah, same.
Okay, all right, so both of you are correct. So let's use this sentence for our example. And let me just ask you, what tense is are arriving?
Present progressive.
Okay, you got it. So here's my question, just so we can all be together with this. How do we make, or I can say, how do we form the present progressive? Okay? Karen.
We use be and verb.
I'm going to write it like this. Be plus verb. Is that okay, Karen? Okay. And there's one more thing. Fumi.
ing.
Yeah, one more thing. We need that ing. Okay. So great. Now we've got the form of present progressive. So we know it's be plus verb plus ing. And the sentence is correct. And the form is correct. And is everybody okay with this? Okay. I think we got this from yesterday. All right. So we said number 1 had a problem with the form, and we corrected the form. Where is the other sentence that has an error with the verb form? Anybody? Now, John, great. Nice and loud, over to the other side of the room.
I think it's number 5.
All right, guys, let's vote. Do you think that number 5 has a problem with the verb form? Hey, you're on? Okay, good. You know what? You guys are right. So, Mary Lou, you put this one on the board. How did you change it?
In this country, it's not really acceptable to arrive late for an appointment. So now I am trying to behave more like American people when I have an appointment.
Okay, so I'm hearing I am trying. So let's just check, guys, what Mary Lou said, I am trying. Does that follow the rule for the form? Yeah? Diana?
Yes, it's be, the verb, ing.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, be plus verb plus ing. So I'm trying. Am trying. Good. All right. So everything's correct now. We've corrected the mistakes in the form. So now let's take a look at whether we've corrected the errors with the verb tenses. Okay? Verb tenses. Now here's the thing. As I went around to look at you sharing your answers, I saw that for many of the sentences, everybody had the same answer. That's great. You agreed, you changed it in the same way. It was great. You made everything correct. But for some of these, you guys had different answers. You didn't agree. Some of you weren't even arguing. You didn't make the same changes. So we've got some things to talk about. So that's a good thing. Let's talk. So here's the thing. Let me tell you, to be really clear. Everybody got the right answer to number 3, number 6, number 7, number 9, and number 10. That's great that you checked those off. So if you look on the board now, what you see on the board is correct. You got these right. Yay! Okay?
That's
Good job. Okay, 3, 6, 7, 9, and 10, great. But, and I know you knew I was going to say that, but I want to look closely at numbers 2, 4, and 8. Just these 3. The reason I want to talk about 2, 4, and 8 is because we had some disagreement, we had a little bit of arguing, you didn't agree on the problem, and you didn't agree on how to fix it. So let's talk about 2, 4, and 8. Okay? All right. Let's go first to number 2. In Peg, will you read the original sentence, the way it was on the paper?
Number 2?
Yeah.
Number 2. My grammar teacher arrives late to our class almost every day. So it's not fair that she is always wanting us to be punctual.
Great. Perfect. That's great. Okay. All right. Let's do this, guys. This is a funny sentence, isn't it? All right. Let's take a vote first to see where the error is, because there are 2 verbs there. Let's see. Is the error with the first underlined verb or the second underlined verb? So is the error with arrives or is wanting? So let me ask you, who says the error is with the first verb? Okay, Diana and Mary Lou. Okay. Who says the error is with the second verb? Everybody else. Okay, looks like we don't agree. All right, Mary Lou and Deanna, you say the error is with the first verb arrives. And Mary Lou, you put this one on the board, I think, right? And we see that you changed it to the present period, it's over here. You changed it to the present progressive. So why do you think we should change it to present progressive? And then make sure you tell Kara behind you, because she thought that was okay.
Okay, because it says late. So that means the grammar teacher arrives late now or around now.
Okay, now Kara, I know you were listening. You didn't change the verb. What do you want to say to Mary Lou?
Well, it says almost every day.
Okay. Let me find that there. Almost every day. So we might have a clue, or we can say we might have a hint here about what the verb tense should be. Fumi, you also said this was simple present. So what does almost every day tell us about the verb? Is it all the time, or now or around now?
Almost every day means like always. It's a regular thing, like all the time.
So you think it's something, okay. So, what do you think now, Mary? Do you think you still like your answer, how you changed it?
Well, now I think about the tense. So I think my teacher arrives late was correct. Simple present. Late is not a clue.
And you know what? I can see how you thought about that, because late is about time, but it doesn't really tell us when it about her behavior. So that's right then, just like Umi and Kara said, almost every day is kind of like a clue or a hint that it's regular or all the time. So it's simple present, you guys. So I'm going to change this, okay? This was correct. Got it? All my blue there. That's correct, okay? So now, can we look at the second part of the sentence? Let's look at the second part. Here's our second verb right here. We know this verb has an error, right? Because this was correct. So we have to make a change here. We've got to change something here. It says is wanting, right? That's what it said before then. What tense is that?
Present progressive.
Yep, present progressive. Here it is. Yep. All right. So why does it need to be changed to simple present? Okay. And make sure everybody can hear you. Okay. They might not have the same idea, you know.
Well, I think in this sentence, everything is the same time.
Okay.
Same time.
And that's neat. Let's keep going with that idea. You're on the right track. Kara, you're nodding your head. You got something going on there. What do you want to add to what Peg said?
Well,
And remember, try to use this info here.
I think everything is all the time. It's the teacher arrives late and she wants us to be punctual. It's the same all the time.
I'm hearing you now. So what does everyone think? Does the teacher want something all the time, regular, or is it now or around now? What do you guys think?
I think it's like all the time, like a habit. She always wants us to be punctual. And it's the same time as the teacher always arrives late, all the time.
So I heard all the time, I heard regular, and then you added one more word, which was
Habit.
habit. So what tense do we want to use to show that it's regular all the time? Hey, all the time.
Simple present, simple
You
present.
got it. You got it. All right. So help me, because I got to change it now. Help me here. And that she always
Wants.
Got it. Okay, that's simple present. Wants. Ooh, I love that S, you guys. That sounds great. All right, you got it. This is correct now. Okay? Everything is correct. Okay? Simple present, simple present. So that's great, you guys. So let's move on now to number 4, and let's try and do it the same way. We'll try and use this language to help us explain the verb tenses. Okay? Great job.